Hey YouTube, it's Alicia here. This is not going to be one of my usual WWE high energy videos. I'm here to talk about the start of Raw last night and the rest of the show, and I'm here to talk about Roman Reigns. So when I saw Roman Reigns walked out, hair pulled back, nice pair of jeans, and t-shirt, and he started speaking, I'm going, okay, he's going to talk about the Jubilee. That wasn't the case. This moment, I think I would say, shocked one, shocked the world. Number one, shocked the world, shocked the fans, and I think probably shocked all the wrestlers in the industry and thing. And to say his leukemia is back. My heart and my prayers goes out to him and his family. But I want y'all to understand, as he's doing that, he do have two support systems there. His cousin Nia Jax and his cousin Tamina. I wouldn't say they were off their game. They still had to wrestle that night. But I will say these two are some strong women. And I will talk about that later this today. But I wanted to start this off with to say this. I want to say, Roman, you got a battle up ahead of you have a battle towards you. And like I'm saying, I want everybody to keep him in your prayers. And as Renee Young said, her husband and Roman traveled for about 6 years together. I think it looked like Renee Young was fin to cry, but you know she's a commentator. She's a female commentator, so I mean it looked like she was finna cry, but then you hear Michael Cole was like trying to hold everybody together. But then Corey Graves, for the first time ever, and we all see Corey Graves get choked up, and him relinquishing the title. It would have been cool to see him versus Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman, but it wasn't. And I think it started off, the whole night was just, all the wrestlers' matches was just so somber, quiet. They just went up in there and like, then, I mean, the match between Bobby Lashley and Finn Balor, that was also a somber match. But you know, like the saying say, you still got to go on. The show still got to go on, and it did. So you don't really. So let me start with Bobby Lashley versus Finn Balor. Bobby Lashley has this new attitude. Um, what I think somebody come out of this male pack being the number one guy to replace Roman Reigns. I don't think nobody will be able to replace him, but to take his place while he's gone, yes. I'll tell y'all that in a different video later. But the match between Bobby Lashley and Finn Balor was very somber. It was a quiet match. Fans like is still like in shock about what they heard, and it's like, but Bobby Lashley came out on top. And then you don't see emotion, but I would want them to like have a camera in the back. I felt like all the matches was good. Let me just talk. I want to talk about a few matches too, but let me just say the match between Bobby Lashley and Finn Balor. Whoa, that was a phenomenal match. Yes, I used the word phenomenal. That was a phenomenal match. But Leo Rush, I feel like in the long run, kind of cost Bobby Lashley a title, a win. I think he kind of cost him a win. I think if it was a female, if he had a black female to be his hype woman, I think it would have worked much better. And I will do that at a later date. But yeah, but then you had Sasha Banks, Bailey, and Natalia versus the Riot Squad. You can kind of see it on their face that they still had that uber shock and thing if y'all and things. I think you can tell in each match it kind of affect each match in a way. That particular match, like Sasha Banks, Bailey, and Natalia versus the Riot Squad. The Riot Squad came out on top, but in the back of their head, they still had a that still was in the back of the head. And then the other Diva match was a pre Royal Rumble show, and yeah, I saw Ember Moon come out on top. So we're gonna have to see who's gonna win. But I will put my predictions in for this Sunday for the first ever Women's Evolution. So yes, let me see. That's all I want to talk about. But I want to talk about Paul Heyman and Braun Strowman because I say if they say something negative, I was going to get out on on my channel and shame they butt from doing it, but they didn't. I'm very humble they didn't because I have two words for these guys. First and foremost, I'm gonna talk about Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, as he's talking, he gets choked up about the situation, and he said, I have to explain to my kids what has happened. And he's like choked up. He's singing the nicest things about Roman Reigns. This is the first time I have ever seen him say anything, but I really want to know what Brock Lesnar feel about it. I hope Brock Lesnar, if he does make a statement, don't say negative, because we all know Brock Lesnar is negative when he do talk. I mean, literally. And so many people outpour from Twitter, from Ric Flair to Natalia to Liv Morgan, Sonya Deville, everybody from NXT to WWE. Yeah, everybody in the WWE family is like sending better wishes to him and things. But let me just say I have to stop because I'm trying to make sure I don't cry. Because it kind of, when you think of illness, you think of cancer, you think of this, but I feel like he will beat this illness. And the one thing from last night that's kept as I was slept, stayed on my head, was two things. Well, actually, one thing. Well, actually, it was two things. So let me start with, as Brian Connor come out, you kind of say he had emotion to it as he was going to, and before he can actually say it, and I'm not gonna talk about too much about the matches or things that happened, but y'all know that what happened was he got hit behind the back with a guitar by Elias. I'll get on to that at a later date today, but right now this is a somber moment, and I can kind of tell on his face he's like I feel like it looked like he been in the back and he's been crying because when he come out, I don't know if everybody noticed, his eyes was red. I think a few of the guys' eyes was red and thing, and like, I'm gonna say this. Braun Strowman's comment. I said he bit. I mean, to me, I felt like, oh, please don't let him say nothing nasty, mean towards Roman Reigns, but he didn't. And I have to give him. He said, "Oh, coming into Crown Jewel, oh, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna win this title. I'm gonna win this championship." And he said, and then when he got on Roman Reigns, he said Roman Reigns is one of the goodest guys back here in the locker room. He stopped being a wrestler then and gave some facts. And I was so thankful to Braun Strowman for that. Braun Strowman just gave us facts. He's saying how warm Roman Reigns is, how a hard worker he is. And then he said, when I win that Universal title belt, and then he said, when you beat leukemia, you'll be the #1 contender for that title, for my first up for my title belt. And I just thought, oh my God, I mean, he said something nice and everything. I don't got all the I will do a follow-up and try to get all the remarks and things that was said by other wrestlers and everything. But y'all, let's lift Roman Reigns and his family up in prayer. I hope this is not too somber, but you heard from like I said, the likes of The Rock. You heard from his cousin Jay and Jimmy Uso. You didn't hear from his cousin-in-law Naomi yet, so we'll see tonight how they're doing in spite of everything you heard from Kurt Angle. And thing you heard from everybody and things. So I wondered, are we going to hear anything on Thursday night on, you know what, WWE Rival Show? So until then, y'all, let's keep Roman Reigns up in our prayers. And Big Dog, we're praying for you and hoping you get better so you can come back and get your title back. All right, y'all. Till then, I'm Alicia. Don't forget to thumbs up this video, comment below, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.